We're live, I think.
I think we're live too.
Yeah.
Looks live to me.
Okay. Yeah. Approximately, I don't know how many people watching here. Ignore Bruno in the background. All
Wait,
right.
how can you tell how many people are watching?
I don't know. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, whatever. We're live. We're in it to win it. All right. So welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans and our first live stream. This is super weird.
Yes, and definitely.
Bruno decided to start barking as soon as we started filming, like normal.
Yeah, he wants to be part of the crew, right?
Yeah, right. All right. So I guess first things first. Let's get into what are you drinking tonight?
Right now, I am trying to kill off my Wild Turkey 101 rye bottle because I got a second one on my way back to Tucson today, and therefore it leaves room for me to finish off the first.
Okay, fair enough. I am drinking a second bottle that I'm trying to kill because, I'm trying to clear up some space. So, it's time to kill that. Did a review of it. I'll be dropping that sometime next week. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, basically just chilling so far. So, Alec, break down what's been going on. Why haven't you been in the channel recently?
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason why we kind of started doing this live stream, I mean, we wanted to do it before, but the way that my life has been taking turns lately, it's kind of put us into a situation where we needed to more than anything. So I was changing jobs. I got a different career opportunity that was in Tucson, Arizona. For those of you who don't know, it's about 100 miles south of Phoenix. So I currently live about an hour and 40 minutes or so from Steven. So yeah, I mean, I just moved into this new house like 2 weeks ago or so. And yeah, putting it together. As you can see, there's nothing on my walls, and I have nothing put together for a backdrop. I have basically a counter space that's got my liquor, and that's about it.
Yeah, so kind of essentially, now we no longer live 5 minutes away and we can't film every single week together. So the way we're pretty much planning on running it, given right now we're in this weird transition period because Christmas is coming up. We've never done it, but we're trying to do an advent calendar, putting that together. And that's a lot of videos at once to slam together. So we've been running those, batching that a lot. So that's why you haven't seen Alec in a lot of our videos, and you probably won't really see him a lot in most of the weekly videos, at least other than live streams. This is going to be a consistent thing, except for maybe next week because of scheduling issues or whatever.
Right.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
But yeah, essentially, we're going to start live streaming, talking about random concepts in whiskey or flights. We haven't really kind of nailed down exactly what we want to cover, except for tonight, which that will get us into our topic, which is going to be bar carts or kind of starting collections, I guess. Because not necessarily bar cart. I mean, I started off with a bar cart kind of, I started off with a liquor, 3 handles of bullet bourbon on top of a, microwave or a fridge actually. So, you know, and then I went into the bar cart, but not inherently just a bar cart, but kind of how to start a small collection and collection necessities.
Yeah. And Steve, you're actually forgetting because when you first moved in with me, you had that one table, that little shelf table that was, I mean, it was kind of like a stationary bar cart in a way. All the liquor was on top, and then you could pull out stuff from the cabinets underneath. So I think that was your first real bar entity, I guess you'd say.
I think our best whiskey in that entire selection was Jameson Black Barrel.
Yeah.
Which I don't even consider good enough to maintain a bottle on the shelf anymore. I mean, actually, at this point, I don't even think I have any Irish whiskey on the shelf.
Well, that's unfortunate for you, buddy.
All the Irish whiskey goes straight to you.
That's right. That's right.
All right. But so essentially we wanted to talk through and go through what's the necessities for a smaller collection, since that's kind of what you're doing, because you went from a place where you couldn't really keep a lot of whiskey and you couldn't like display it or whatever, to now you're starting to create a collection. It probably won't be this monstrosity you see behind me, or you'll see in other people's collections, but like we kind of wanted to talk about what are the necessities for a collection, and not only just bottles, but like what kind of glassware do you need, what like mixology stuff do you need, like what is required to have like a legitimate collection.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yes. And so in the like future, I do plan on kind of collecting more of a bar cart, and then obviously the things that are going to go along with it. In the meantime, though, yes. So if we're talking like straight essentials, as whiskey drinkers, there's going to be a couple different glass types that we definitely need. One that everyone kind of knows or has seen at restaurants, or just has simply because they're easy, is rocks glass. Rocks glass is your classic if you want something neat on the rocks. You can make a mixed drink and put it in there. It's a pretty multi-purpose kind of glass you can use, and I just happen to have about 10 of them. So they range in size. I could probably bring it down to like 4 or 5, and then just have a couple variations. But yeah, rocks glasses seem to be what I've collected over the years. Second up is the good old Glencairns. This one obviously is not glass, but you need something of the Glencairn-esque family, I suppose you'd say.
Or like a nosing glass, kind of something designed to nose with.
Exactly. The curvature on the bottle or on the cup here, it has that ability to give you those notes that you wouldn't get out of a rocks glass or an ordinary glass. We've got, like 10, 12 at your place, Steve?
Yeah, I have a lot. Just normal Glencairns, and then I have a bunch of other random like nosing glasses. I mean, my favorite for like constantly drinking are these Agent Orange neat glasses. Just because I like that they're a weird mix between a rock glass and a Glencairn. So I really like those. But, I think as a necessity, you probably want a rocks glass and a nosing glass, because this isn't inherently the best for nosing and tasting, although I prefer to use this as like a daily drinking glass. A rocks glass is, you're not going to get a good nose on a rocks glass, and on like a Glencairn and all, you're not going to get, it's not easy. It's kind of challenging to drink through them. You got to like tip it all the way back just to kind of start drinking from it.
Yeah.
So yeah. A solid nosing glass and some rocks glasses, and I would say probably like 4 of each.
Yeah, 4 of each I think is a good number to have. And then only other glass I would say is really needed for a liquor set would be something that you can use for mixed drinks. So you're usually talking about something along the lines of a relatively skinny yet taller, just like 16-ounce glass. Kind of thing that you'll pretty much get at a bar if you get a mixed drink. Bloody Marys usually come in like the ones that are going to be kind of starting a little bit thinner, and they go a little bit further out to the top, giving them the ability to put any kind of olives or any of the other garnish they want in it. It gives it a good presentation and allows you to kind of do a lot more with the look rather than just what you're getting out of it. So that's something you might want to have, maybe just 2 at most, I'd say. And it's going to be, for if you're, doing a little more blending and you're not doing so much of just flat one whiskey kind of thing.
Yeah. Ironically, given, I'm not really that heavy into mixology, I've been actually on a we're going to tangent here for a sec. So, I'm not crazy into mixology, but I've been thinking about kind of starting new chapter with the channel and myself, which is basically kind of teaching Steven how to mixology. So like I was thinking about like researching like cocktails basically, and trying to like figure out like what are good cocktails, and like release a few videos of how to make that cocktail after I become super familiar with it. I haven't really pulled the trigger on that because I don't really have that much cocktail stuff, nor do I have the background knowledge, but I kind of wanted to like do that to teach me how to make cocktails and to expand that whole like sphere of capability, more or less.
Right. It just adds another flavor to, what we've been doing on this channel. And I'm going to say, just putting this out there, one of the first drinks that you should try to recreate is the Jack Daniel's smoked whiskey lemonade that they have at California Adventure, Disney California Adventure. Probably one of my favorite mixed whiskey drinks I've had from anywhere really. You can obviously get really into whiskey drinks as far as cocktails, because I mean there's Manhattans, and then there's old fashions, and there's 1,000 of other kinds, but that one was one that really stuck out to me as something that was super, at least it seemed super simple, but it also had just a great flavor, and it was something super easy to drink and kind of just go about having a fun time at Disneyland. So I say
do you know
give it your best.
Jack Daniels they used in that?
I think it was just Jack Daniels.
Huh.
Number 9 or number 7.
So real question. I know that kind of like Jack Daniels gets like a lot of hate. Have you recently had just a straight normal Jack Daniels?
Which one?
Have you had just like the straight normal, like old number 7?
Oh yeah. It's been a while since I've had it, honestly. Probably months, for being honest.
Yeah.
Well, besides that drink, which was less than a month ago for me. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had just JD07 on the rocks or neat.
Yeah, I feel like it gets way more hate than it should. I think it's a great, like, really budget. If it was like $15 instead of $20, I think it would be really good. I just think, or actually it's more like 25, I believe. I just think it's slightly overpriced for being like the floor, and it's like, it needs proof. Like the Jack Daniel's single barrels, just the normal ones, I think they're pretty decent for the money. It's a little nuttier than I want. That's why I don't have one anymore after we killed it. But, especially the barrel proofs are phenomenal. So I honestly think that my biggest gripe with Jack Daniels isn't inherently the whiskey. It's the prices they make for their budget stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess in a way I'm happy that their stuff that is above the budget, is like above their bottom shelf, isn't necessarily too much more. Like you can get the Jack Daniel's single barrel for $35. It's not like it's an absurd amount, but you're also not going to get like something high end necessarily out of it. And you'd think for such a mass produced whiskey line, probably the most known whiskey line that there is. Hi, Bruno.
Yeah, I think Olivia just got home.
Nice. But yeah, for such a well-known whiskey distillery, I think that, they could definitely go lower on JD07. And, but then again, like I said, I would prefer them have a high floor than a high ceiling, because all those other ones, all the other products that they have brought out that we've tried and we've enjoyed, those ones are also not absurdly priced. So
that's true, because they are reasonably priced, and I do think it is solidly worth it for every offering above like Gentleman Jack, except for like their maple one, the Sinatra one. So maybe they're like middle, like, so like in between, they're like $35 to $75. I think their products they offer around there are worth it, but I know like the maple, that's $100, and it's like, I've heard it's just overly sweet. I've never even actually tried it.
Right. Well, when's the last time that we bought a bottle of whiskey that was $100 that we weren't like really looking into and really wanted to get?
Yesterday, Woodford Batch Proof.
Well, yes.
I mean, I just randomly purchased that though.
Yeah.
And I am not disappointed. That bottle is great.
Review delicious.
Coming soon. Given I don't know.
I'll be in that one.
Yeah, I don't know what year release that is, because it's like 119 proof and I couldn't find a correct year. So I'm kind of waiting, because I'm trying to like see if they're going to release like, oh, hey, like we're doing a winter 2021 release. I don't know. So we're going to hold off on that for like a week or so. But yeah. So kind of moving back into the top.
Yeah. Okay.
So
back to Bar Cart.
Yeah. So obviously collection.
Yes.
So we're just going to move on. This is like a whiskey collection, like obviously you're going to have like a bottle of rum, a bottle of tequila, a bottle of vodka, whatever you need, like the minimum, maybe some like dry vermouth, sweet vermouth, whatever the heck.
Yeah, whatever your fancy stuff is, I guess.
Yeah. How many bottles of whiskey? Obviously, I know we did a back a long way, or I guess not really a long way ago, but we
A
did a
couple months ago.
review, or yeah, we did a list of like starting a collection with $150, and we said 3 bottles is a collection, but how many do you think is like a solid starting collection, and like what bottles do you think would be good? Or well, let's go with how many bottles do you want in your collection? I mean,
Okay.
it's probably going to be more than you want at some point, but like how many do you
Right.
want to start off with, or how many would you like if, say, like, you had unlimited money and you could just go out and buy whatever you wanted tonight?
I'd be buying a lot of bottles, a
Mm.
lot of bottles. But I guess so. Going from my position before this, where I didn't necessarily have the ability to have a collection, I now currently am sitting in a 7 bottle collection. So I've got 2 scotches. Well, sorry, I have one Highland Scotch, one Mesquite smoked. Um,
American single malt, the Del Bock.
yes, thank you. So yes, I've got a single malt smoked. I've got a Highland Scotch. I have 2 different ryes, and I have a bourbon. And then I also have I have 2 Irish whiskeys. So that kind of, I think, is a pretty good spread as far as getting into the variations. You could honestly do just 7 full blown bourbons if you wanted to. I think it really depends on what you're looking for in your flavor profiles. But I think at that point, you've kind of gotten to where you can say that you could have a different bourbon every day of the week. And that kind of warrants a collection that's, a pretty, good variety to have.
Yeah, yeah. So what? Seven bottles of bourbon then?
7 bottles of bourbon on the wall.
So what 7 are you thinking? Like what 7 do you want?
If I was just to go out with unlimited money and we're sticking with that.
Yeah, you're just
that
saying
parity.
it tonight.
Okay. 7 bottles of bourbon that I would choose. That's okay. That's kind of tough. I would obviously, I'd be getting one of each from Old Forester and Wild Turkey, obviously. I'd probably get something for Old Forester. It would be either 1920 or possibly the 1897. And then for
Cheers, buddy.
cheers.
Can you see that, Alec, on your
What?
side? The chat? Oh.
Where's it? Wait, where?
No, on the right, the StreamYard.
Hold up. I have a private chat.
Well, cheers,
Oh,
Lord
comments.
Strong. Or Lord
Oh, hello.
Strong. Sorry, my bad.
Yes.
Please.
Cheers indeed. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, our first member or first participant in our live stream. Yeah, so if you haven't been watching, we're basically just kind of going over. So essentially, to quickly recap everything we've talked about thus far, Alec got a new job. That's why he's been not on the channel a lot. We're batching a lot of videos, like kind of when we can. And so we're basically breaking down starting collection because Alex essentially kind of starting from zero. I mean, at this point, you said what, you have 7 bottles, but you've gotten those really recently. And, I'm sure you're going to get way more as time goes on because at some point I'm going to get more and then I'm going to have to get rid of some more. And I don't drink as much as I buy.
That's
typically.
Yeah. So we were going over, Steve just asked, what are these 7 bourbons or 7 whiskeys generally that I would be picking out from Total Wine or a liquor store if I had a blank check. So I'm starting it off with, like I said, an Old Forester, either the 1920, fantastic bottle, or the 1897, also a good bottle, but is a little bit, not well known.
That's a 100 proof one, the bottled and bond one?
Yeah, because I think that one also has a really good flavor profile. So one of those 2 would be my Old Forester. Easy pick on the Wild Turkey side. I'd be grabbing that rare breed because I think that when it comes to Wild Turkey, the hotter it is, the better. So rare breed.
That one our Turkey Tango, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes, it did.
I know it came down to that or Russell Single Barrel, and I think we gave it to rare breed.
Right.
But I mean, both of those are killer bottles.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, those were also completely blind tastings that had no price point or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It was strictly based on flavor and flavor alone, one for rare breed. So, testament to it. Yeah, so I've got my Old Forester, I've got my Wild Turkey. After that, I think that it's definitely worth grabbing a rye and a Scotch smoked. Okay, those two are going to be a little bit more on your, border flavors, I guess, of just your typical whiskey profile. So, for a rye, we've had a lot of good ryes. I can't really say which one would be like my easy go-to. However, you think
One of those. I mean, one of these three would definitely be my go-to if I could only have one. I mean, that Redwood Empire one, I haven't done the Lost Monarch. I haven't done a review of it, but geez, it is so freaking good.
All right, he says Emerald Giant. Giant.
Yep, Emerald Giant. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think it's fantastic.
Rare breed rye, a good one for
Yep. Oh yeah.
Sure.
Jeez. I'm right there with him. Yeah. those.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to necessarily just pick which one. Yeah, because we've had a decent amount of good rye so far. So I mean, either one of those, Emerald Giant or Rare Breed Rye, or also the High West Double Rye that you picked up, the new one. That one was also pretty tasty.
Yeah, the store pick that's finished in X Sherry for I think it's a year or it's 13 months.
And that is a Willet, yes.
Yeah. So
Willet there as well.
Geez, I need to bring my computer closer. I can't read chat. But yeah, it's one of the just like 4-year-old Willet small batches. And here, so some people say that's like 70 in their area, but here in Arizona at Total Wine, it's like $50. And at $50, I think it's a phenomenal bottle.
Absolutely.
I think we reviewed it under 60 or 65, but I still think at 50, it's an easy buy, 110%.
Oh yeah, and I remember when we first had that bottle, I was not expecting such a really sweet nose, but then such a really nice spicy palate that it was fantastic. So there's another good one. Like, it's hard to pick when it comes to a rye. I think it's gonna honestly just come down to whatever you're feeling at the time. So leave it to one of each. If you need to have multiple ryes in your 7-bottle collection, have multiple ryes. But I'm going to move past rye now and go to the other side where I was saying a smoked Scotch. So I think peated Scotch, fantastic. Can't go wrong with it. It's not going to be your daily, but it is something that you want to have for when, you have moments, I mean, it's getting to be November, and in Arizona, that is some perfect peated Scotch weather, I would say. So I think if I'm going to go bottle pick right now, obviously, the Ardbegs are a great lineup to choose from when it comes to peated Scotch. However, that there was a Scotch we had recently. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a total random bottle you picked up.
Give me tasting notes. I have 20 or 30 Scotches, so it's pretty easy to.
No, it was no. Remember when we were we were doing?
By the way, what's everyone drinking tonight?
Oh yeah. Actually, that's a good question. What is everyone drinking tonight?
Alec, what are you drinking? I know we already said it, but two people are in here now.
Yeah, that's fair. So inside of this bad boy, I've got some Wild Turkey 101 rye because, again, it's a good time of year for rye, and that is another good bottle of rye to have. I recently picked one up just over nearby my parents' house. They actually have a Bashas' over there, and they sell it for $19.99. It's the cheapest bottle of Wild Turkey 101 rye. Because at Total Wine, we found it for, I think, it was 20, 23, 24.
20. I don't know. It's somewhere in between 20 or 30, but at $20, I think it's a fantastic rye.
For
at
sure.
25, 30, I'm like,
because
I'd rather have Redwood Empire. But
absolutely.
This is what I'm drinking tonight. This bottle's kind of growing on me if I don't realize I paid $55 for it right when I just started collecting whiskey, because I'm drinking it like it's water.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's talking about the 101 rye.
Yes. If you
Oh,
haven't had it yet, get it.
yeah, that Woodford Double
Fantastic.
Oak's fantastic too. You see
Yes.
that's
Double Oak.
another great sipper. Yeah, I feel like regardless, so in a collection, you need for sure, I guess for us, because we have a very similar, I know you're going to want an Irish, and I don't even actually have any Irish. You might like some wheaters or some, wheat whiskey. That's not going to be me. But I think you at least need like a Highland or a non-peated Scotch, a peated
Okay.
Scotch, a high proof bourbon, a low proof bourbon that's a daily drinker, and then high proof, low proof bourbon, and then something that's like double oaked. You definitely need some high proof rye, some low proof rye, because those are completely different. High proof rye and low proof rye, they drink, I mean, just like high proof and low proof bourbons. Like,
yeah, totally different.
I think those are different moods. So like something like a rare breed and then like a double rye or a emerald giant,
Right.
I think you need for sure something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're only talking 7 bottles, you also got to remember you can't have a high proof and a low proof of your ryes and of your bourbons, because right there you're already going to take 4 of the 7 out of play. You got 3
I mean,
left, and
you
you
could
said
have
you need
more
to
than
have 1 Highland
seven.
and 1 peated.
You can
I
have
thought we
more
were
than
limiting
seven.
this to 7.
No.
You said I had a blank check and I had to pick 7 bottles.
No, I said you had a blank check. You could buy as much as you want within reason. Like if you're just initially starting out, like how many bottles do you think is an appropriate amount for a collection before you become what's ever going on behind here and a lot of other people who show up here?
Okay, well, if that's the case, I think that you need to be at least 10 to 12. 10 to 12 is going to give you, it's going to give you your proof point differences. It's going to give you your flavor, your flavor differences, and 300 would be another great amount to have.
I'm at like 100 right now, and I'm running out of space. Given like what you see as a backdrop is literally all the space I have in this little tiny studio we've built. So 300 would be fantastic, but I do think like sub $20 is a reasonable, like where you can absolutely get every type of whiskey you could possibly want but not have excess, because this is clearly excess.
Yeah,
300 is excess. I mean, I would love to have 1,000 whiskeys. I'd love to touch, try everything I possibly could. But I think sub 20, you can get every realistic flavor profile you could potentially want any given night.
Yeah. And that also gets into a point of where, you're not starting anymore. You are getting experienced, or you are now getting to a point where it's such a hobby that you're doing other things with it. Like the Blend Off series. Obviously, that's something that I think we've done a really good job of taking a lot of these bourbons that have been collected over this time and put them to good use. Yes, we can do a single bottle review. Yes, we can do a flight. Blending is, I think, the one thing that you and I have kind of gotten into that we actually find a really good purpose for the bourbons that are, as you call, excess now.
Yeah. And I mean, so moving forward, probably I don't know if we just finished season 2, or I just released season 2. We're like mid season 3 and filming, but I just released season 2. And so, are you drinking? Both. Sharing it with friends, drinking it. I think, all whiskey's good to share with friends. That's why, like, I don't really chug a lot of my hard to find or allocated or like really expensive whiskeys, because I would much rather drink them with, say, Alec or any of my other friends who are heavy into whiskey, which, given Alec is pretty much like the soul. Alec and Cole, which Cole, he's in somewhere. Wherever the army
he left. Yeah. Yeah. No, Lord Schlong's got a good point there. More is better, always.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because then I'd be like, oh, here, dude, try this. Oh, here. Yeah. And then before you know it, you get wasted.
Yeah. Like we did last night. Last time we batched together 7 videos, right? So
that's the concern of having to batch everything with going into this whole Advent calendar, because we got to do a lot of videos in a very short time.
Yeah.
We'll
it
have
got
to
pretty
review
good
those
enough.
videos before we release them for sure.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah.
And
So 20, sorry, I'm trying to get us back on topic because I know you can't stay on all night. 20-ish bottles. So what are the flavor profiles in whiskey that you would like to have in your collection? Because we all know we would love to have 1,000 bottles and the space to have 1,000 bottles so you can drink them whenever you want and share them with friends and all that jazz. But what are like the types of flavor profiles or the 20, bottles that you would specifically want?
I think when it comes to flavor profiles, you're gonna want to do basically the spectrum as far as like classic bourbon goes. So you want something that's gonna be, basically going from our super nutty friends over at Wild Turkey and Knob Creek, and you're gonna want to span that as far as you can, getting back into, a little bit of like the double oaks and obviously like some of the sweeter ones. Like you could do the marshmallow out of Russell's Reserve. You could do you could do a lot of that same kind of banana, the banana sundaes and all those that we can get from Buffalo Trace or Jack Daniels, or of course, there's just so many different things that you can grab out of it that I think when you're talking 20 bottles, you're now officially going to be just picking everything between. You could literally cast that out 100 different ways, and I don't think you'd be making a bad decision.
Okay, yeah. So like, so I guess we'll go in categories. Starting off collection, let's start just low proof bourbon.
Low proof bourbon, good low proof bourbon to grab.
Yeah. What are you gravitating towards?
I think you could easily get away with an Elijah Craig first and foremost. That's a pretty good lower proof bourbon to have on your shelf, just because that flavor profile is sweet with a little spice, and it's really well bodied, good finish, and I think it's one of those kind of whiskeys you can pick up, and you're not gonna have to worry about finding another one because they're pretty well allocated, or not allocated, pretty well within anyone's grasp, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So that's my low proof.
No worries. Yeah, I definitely agree. Elijah Craig, great choice. Eagle Rare, great choice. I mean, if you can find it for the $30-ish it's supposed to be, because I do think Eagle Rare is a fantastic bottle at the $30-$35 range. But again, once you get a little bit higher towards, I think when I first started out and I was just really into like the Tater bottles, I bought an Eagle Rare for I think like $50, given it was a store pick, but it wasn't any better than a normal just standalone. So ever since then, I've been like, is it worth it? But if you can buy that at $30, I think definitely for sure. Or like a Russell's 10-year, I think would be a great solid, lower proof bourbon, or Bullet 10-year. I know we're really big fans of that recently, and I think that's a fantastic bottle to be bringing along for that lower proof game.
Right.
But
well, even when you talk about
four.
Right, and I would even say you could get away with just doing Bullet by itself. It doesn't even have to be the 10-year, and I think just Bullet Classic is not a bad bottle. I mean, that's getting like lower proof, but if you're not going to want to spend the extra dollars on the 10-year, it's not a bad bottle to have either.
I mean, normal Bullets it's like 45%.
Yeah.
But, so I mean, it fits. It's the same proof as Eagle Rare.
Yeah, it's all within that little net, I guess, of good ones. Now, okay, high proof bourbon.
I think let's go up in proof to like a medium proof. So I'm talking like something plus 100, but not yet crossing 110. So something that's like maybe bottled in bond or.
Okay. I'll throw this one out there just because we did this bottle recently, and I think it's probably one of the best out of the lineup.
Hey, Julie. Sorry, continue talking, Alec. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, cheers. So I think it's well worth your time and your money to get Maker's 46 cask strength. That is a good bottle of bourbon that you can at least enjoy at under 110, but over 100, and you're getting a really good flavor profile.
I'm pretty sure Maker's 46 cash strength is over 110. I think it's like 111 or 112.
Sue me, okay? I'm so sorry, Steven.
Semantics. Okay. All right. I mean, I guess that's kind of hard because I don't really know a lot of good ones that are over like the 100 proof category, but are still under 110.
Right.
That are like
That's a
easier
that's
to
a
find.
hard, yeah, that's a niche, and I think you're also kind of starting to look at bottles that are,
Yeah.
store picks or are, single barrels that they actually got them at, 108.6 or 4.5 or something more like that.
Thanks everyone for joining the stream.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
we're figuring this out. This is a new concept of us. We're just kind of essentially we're just going through. So again, I'm going to recap this for the third time tonight, or actually, I think it's the second time. But Alec moved. He's now like 2 hours away, right? You've
Like an
made the
hour and
drive like
45.
twice, yeah. So we live a little bit far apart now, or farther apart. So we've been doing a lot more batching. That's why I've been doing a lot of solo videos recently because we're kind of preparing for our Advent calendar this year. And so we're going to start live streaming and kind of just batching videos. So, we're kind of going over Alex starting his collection because he's moving, or he moved from a place that you didn't really have the ability to get whiskey. Or, well, you had the ability, but you would buy like one bottle, you'd kill it, and then you get
Yeah.
another one. So now you have your own domain, and now you're starting to collect. So we're kind of going over Alex whiskey collecting, more or less.
Right. That, and I mean, just a little bit of basics on bar cart, general, like, alcohol required, like glassware, that kind of stuff. Just the basics, I guess we could say, in a way.
Yeah. Okay. So high proof bourbon. What are you looking at?
Yes. So high proof bourbon. I have a couple in mind. Obviously, Rare Breed is one of my top favorites, always and forever. So that one could easily show up in my high proof bourbon area. However, I gotta say that Obtainium that we've been working with recently, the Canadian whiskey, only Canadian whiskey I can honestly say.
The Bourbon Junkies pick.
Yes.
I mean, that's a one and done kind of pick. I got one bottle and we'll never have it again.
All right,
and it's already halfway empty.
Okay. So that's out of the question.
Yeah.
So, I could, I don't know. It's kind of hard when it gets into the higher proof bourbons because there's a lot of really good ones, but we're also talking about.
Yeah. Lord Schlong's also right. That's totally a rye, Alec.
Sorry, Canadian whiskey rye.
Yeah.
It's a different bottle. The King of the North is a rye. Yes.
I mean, to be fair, you've only really had that when we're batching a lot of videos. So I don't think any of us are in the best frame of mind when we've been doing that. So I'll let that one go.
Yeah. Thanks.
But yeah, so high proof bourbon. I know previously you said 1920.
Actually, yeah,
Rare
Lord Strong definitely got it. Elijah Craig barrel proof. That is another fantastic bottle to have at a high proof like that. And I mean, that's the thing. When we get into some of the barrel proof picks, you're just talking about your flavor profile jacked up to 120, which I think is fantastic. You can't go wrong with it by any means. But that's my thing is I guess I have a couple in mind, but I never really think about so many of the other ones that I just haven't had at barrel proof regularly. But I mean, you've kind of done a little bit more exploration, I guess, in that realm. Like what's your favorites barrel proof or high proof bourbon that you've grabbed that you didn't expect?
Well, I mean, obviously my favorite kind of like daily or my readily available is easily 1920 that pulls up literally everywhere. I'm a big fan of the ECBPs. Shout out to Julie. She suggested, or she said that she liked the B521 batch better than any other batch she's tried recently. And that's kind of the only reason I bought it. And I hate to agree with her because I've been like hunting proof for so long. But honestly, I feel like the lower proof, because it's like 118, I think the lower proof is way better.
Typical Julie mistake. I'm glad that someone's got my back here in this chat.
Yeah. But so Elijah Craig, Jack Daniels Barrel Proof, Rare Breed, 1920. I mean, those are pretty much like the four, I think, go-to barrel proofs that are higher proof whiskeys that I think are good.
I'll throw in also the 1792, not barrel proof, but batch proof, was it?
The foolproof?
Yes, foolproof. Sorry, I knew it wasn't barrel proof. That's another pretty good one at a price point. Okay. But I think at its price point, because remember we had that discussion about as far as if you want to get something that's cheaper than the rest of everything that sits up at this high proof point, but you also want it to still kick your ass at night, then that's a good bottle to grab.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also the Knob Creek too, which is solid higher proof bourbon.
Yeah.
So
again, there's plenty of different ways to go with this.
I think by the end of this stream, you're going to have a list of like 40, 50 bottles you want to buy, even though we've went from 7 to 20. Now we're kind of going way past 20 bottles.
Well, I think that the collected decision was actually 300 was a good starting point. So I should just be at 300 by now.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so let's move over to rye. We're going to skip Irish whiskey. We're going to skip Canadian whiskey. Rye whiskey. Lower proof rye whiskey. What are you thinking?
Lower proof rye. Actually, I'll put in the Jack Daniels rye that we got. The Jack Daniels single barrel rye that we had.
Oh,
that
one was. Rye?
Yeah, I wish we could have gotten the barrel proof because that would have probably been even better. But that was a pretty good low proof rye, and I think that it was a good surprise to both of us. I think we didn't necessarily have like a high bar set, but it definitely exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, it's definitely it was an unforeseen like love, because I've heard a lot of good things about the barrel proof version, but no one ever talks about just the straight up single barrel. And I think the single barrel for like $40 is solid.
Yeah,
because that's what it is around here. And I guess my entry would be, like I've said previously, Dover Rye and Emerald Giant, because I think those are fire. I think Emerald Giant is the better one, but I'm also new to that, so I might have like a little bit of like love for it still, more or less.
Steve's in the honeymoon phase with that bottle.
No, we have not had the Tennessee Taster barrel proof rye.
Wait, who makes that one?
It's another Jack Daniels. So it was before they released. So to my knowledge, from what I've heard from other people, before they released the barrel proof rye, they did like a Tennessee Taster, which was essentially their barrel proof rye before they released it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think we've already kind of gone through lower proof rye whiskeys previously. Let's go into higher proof rye whiskey.
Ooh, I want to know what your opinion is on this first, actually, just because I think that it's a lot harder to pick a high proof rye.
Putting me on the spot. I normally ask you everything. I just drive the narrative, so like you can say all the stupid stuff first.
Thanks.
Lower proof rye whiskey that we didn't shout out, Old Forester rye. I think that's way better.
Yes. Old Forester rye is another good one.
I have like an in-between feeling about that, but I still think it's good. I just don't think it's worth the like must-have. Personally.
Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been happy with it for sure. But I also think that, Wild Turkey 101 is a great bourbon, and then Wild Turkey 101 rye is a decent rye. But like you said, it's not necessarily something that's, turning heads more than it should. That's my opinion. So you're saying for high proof ryes, you're going with what?
Sorry, I'm trying to text or message things. Okay, so re-answer the question because I was not paying attention to you. Sorry.
Damn it, Steve. Okay. No, I was just saying words. There were words. I remember them.
Okay. Barrel proof rye.
Barrel proof rye. Yes,
proof rye.
I told you. You have to pick one right now, okay?
Okay, so Barrel Proof Rye. I'm gonna go with the Barrel Proof Rye. I've been loving. I mean, I hate to shout out our local Adventurous Stills, but I like their
Mm,
Barrel Proof Rye.
that Lost
That
Dutchman
pick,
rye.
yeah, the Lost Dutchman Rye I've been loving, but that's not really realistic to anyone watching because I highly doubt they're from Arizona. So I would say probably the Willet Small Batch. The 4-year-old. I believe it's like it's 108 proof, or at least the one we
Okay.
have. So it's still kind of higher proof, but not really. Or
It's not too
rare,
high.
yeah, rare breed rye. I'm a big fan of, but other than that, we don't really have a lot of barrel proof rye whiskeys.
Yeah, I
You know,
think they're a little bit harder to come by.
yeah,
So
Sagamore,
Sagamore was
Sagamore
good.
High, yeah, their barrel proof rye is really good. Their double oaked, I think, is really good. I just that tannicky note killed it for me.
Mm,
Like I was so excited to share that with you yesterday, and then I was like, after I did the review, I was like over analyzing it, and I was like, it's kind of woody on the end.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird how there's just those random small things that can totally kill a bottle. Whether it's just like that tiny bit at the end or something that comes off the
Oh,
first sip.
so
Pikesville
Lord
also
Schwab,
also a good
yeah,
one.
Pikesville is fantastic as well. I didn't think about that. That's on the bottom shelf right there because I don't have any room on the top shelf. Or yeah, and as well, Knob Creek store picks are phenomenal. Whether it's the bourbon or the rye, they're all amazing.
Yeah,
I think they're very like I guess I want to say like cool with their store picks because I feel like some store picks are like the throwaway whiskeys that they're not willing to batch sometimes. Whereas I feel like with Knob Creek store picks, sometimes they give away the stuff where they're like, oh, well, it doesn't fit our flavor profile. Or at least they used to before they started like batching the higher proof ones into actual products. Or not
mm,
higher proof, the higher aged ones.
okay.
But okay, your barrel proof rise. You're getting me all tangenty over here.
Honestly, I don't know if I have anything to add to the list that we kind of just put together. I agree. Willet is a just great, great
See
bottle.
you later, Lord Schlong. And,
Oh yeah,
thank you as well. And thanks for the support as always.
yeah. Thank you guys, and thanks for the congrats as well. All right, and we'll try to keep this doing every Wednesday.
Yeah, more or less.
Yes, yes, yes. But so yeah, I think as far as the high proof rise, Willet is probably going to be one of my top ones. And then obviously Rare Breed Rye, fantastic as well. I can't really think of anything else that's jumping out at me. I think that's pretty much it though. Those are the two that I would probably put up at the top though, if I'm just gonna, give my input because who really cares what I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised 2 people are watching right now.
Seriously.
So I'll take that as
Thank
a
you
win.
guys.
Okay, so we're going to skip over Canadian Irish because I mean, I know there's good Irish out there, especially after the Redbreast 12 cash drink or just the normal Redbreast 12 video
Yes.
we or did. But, it's not really, I still don't think it's flavor profile matched the amount of money I was spending on it. Whereas we could have gotten, like, for the same exact, we could have bought an Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Right.
And that's better, in my opinion. In my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to skip past those because honestly, I don't have any in all the Irish you currently have. And if we do any Irish moving forward, unless if it knocks my socks off, you're probably going to be the one watching, or you're probably going to be the one drinking it.
I'm happy to
So
do so.
Scotch.
Scotch. Scotch
Not
spoon.
so. Let's start off non-peated.
Non-peated Scotch. Those Glenmorangies. I think when you got the taster set, like that was more than a year ago now, I think.
It
Those
was
Glenmorangies.
early 2020. It was early this year.
Okay, early this year. Okay. But the Glenmorangie set, that was a really good introduction into non-peated Scotch. And I think we can both agree that we loved the port finish that you now have, the 14-year, right?
Yeah, the 14-year port finish.
Amazing,
Yeah,
fantastic bottle. And then I think we can also both agree The Glenlivets are not bad. If was it also the
It's
14
the cognac finish one. The 14-year
cognac?
cognac finish one's not bad.
Yeah,
I still think the best one is that Lasata. I think
Lasanta.
that
That
one's
one is.
fantastic for the
Yes.
money. But I guess yeah, maybe we're not that like heavily invested into Scotch.
Yeah, but I mean, we're also not, made of money.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah. Scotch is just too hard to get into for me. Like,
yeah,
I
I
like a
think it's
peated Scotch and I like a super fruity like wine finish Scotch, but like I don't want to be spending like $60-$70 for something that's going to be like 40 proof.
right. Now, maybe if we had grown up in England and, it was just a lot more available and it was a lot more of a, posh posh kind of thing, we'd be a little bit more open to the idea of going and getting scotch rather than being like, who the hell wants American bourbon? Those guys don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
So that just might be a product of our own, bringing up.
Upbringing, our
Yeah.
lives. Okay,
Yeah.
so moving away from like kind of the highlands, let's go to some peated stuff, or I guess highlands, Speyside, whatever. Non-peated. Let's go into some peated. What are you looking at?
I'm going to throw out the Ardbeg, obviously. Ardbeg 10, fantastic bottle. I think that Laphroaig 10, if it's the cast strength, also fantastic bottle. Tastes like dirt and bake, and all those put together somehow are just, fantastic. I think that the Port Charlotte, I think was a really good bottle that we didn't really have a lot to base off of. But for one of the first few bottles that we actually got, it was a definitely good choice. So there's 3.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would say for sure Ardbeg Wee Beastie.
Wee Beastie's good.
Without a doubt. Laphroaig 10 cash strength. That's phenomenal. Port Charlotte for sure. That's a great peated Scotch. And I just find that crazy that like that's the same exact like peated Scotch that's like the Bruichladdich. It's just at a lower proof, but it's or it's like the same as like the Octomores, which is like a super coveted, insane peated Scotch, but it's not like super duper expensive.
Right.
So I like those. I like that. What is it? The Craig Isle 33, but I don't think that's really realistic.
Right. That's the most expensive bottle of whiskey you have.
Yeah.
But I mean, we agreed though, it was good. Like overall, yeah, if price wasn't a thing, it's a fantastic bottle. Probably one of the best bottles of Scotch you own.
Yeah, it is the best bottle of Scotch I own.
Okay. Yes, best
and then, so bottles I would like to try that I think would fit in this category for sure. The Ardbeg, it's the Corryvreckan. I think that's like, so that's their cash strength version of Ardbeg. It's like $120 here, so it's pretty expensive.
Pricey.
So that's why we haven't bought it yet. But I would like to, one day try that out. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So I guess, so to kind of just recap the whole night, because we're already at like 54 minutes and I need to cut this in a little bit earlier. We'll probably start earlier next time and,
so like 6:30.
A little earlier. Yeah. 6:30 sounds pretty good next time. But so to basically essentially recap, bar cart or like starting the collection, obviously you need good glassware.
Yes.
And especially I would put an emphasis on nosing glassware. So glassware you can do a good nosing with, but also glassware that you can just sip and enjoy drinking whiskey out of. So I think you need like both like a Glencairn or like a Copita, whatever one suits your fancy, because those are not the best to just drink out of. And then like a rocks glass, or, if you just want to go the extra mile, these, little, why am I having a hard time saying the Agionor glasses? So Agionor, I think they're fantastic glasses. So definitely for sure, glassware oddly plays a wild amount into like tasting whiskey for me.
Right. Well, I think it also it plays a big role in the experience you have with the people you're drinking with. Obviously, If you want to get a little bit more, scientific, you get into something you can, really get smells and taste out of. If you want to like get something that's more of just a conversation starter to have around, throwing a rocks glass between two people and then just, having one after another, it will, obviously evolve into a good night no matter what. But, it just depends on the vibe that you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously, going into actual lubricant or the whiskey itself, we agreed, obviously you need some lower proof bourbons, a little higher proof bourbons, maybe some like double oaked products, because those are a little off the common path in the realm of bourbons. Mm-hmm. And then, higher proof rye, lower proof rye. We don't really need a double oaked rye per se. I wish they had more double oaked rye so I could like nosedive those, but they don't really have those. And then obviously some scotches, some non-peated scotches, and some peated scotches. And that's, yes. I mean, essentially all you need. And then I guess we can just really quickly in the last like few minutes we have here, we just run through mixology stuff. So obviously I know you said you need glassware or glasses for like Bloody Marys and extra other like types of drinks you can create. So what kind of barware do you think you need?
I mean, I'm not going to know the exact name, but the little corkscrew one that's got the spoon on one end and the disc on the other, what do you call
that? Like the bar spoon? Like the very long spoons? Yeah. Yeah, so you need your typical mixology set with so you need like the typical mixology set with like the jar or like the mixing
shaker
glass, bottle, the bar spoon, shaker bottle, bar spoon, mullet, bludgeoner.
For when you're doing your bitters and stuff like that.
What is that thing called?
I think it's a mortar. I think.
Mortar? I don't know. The thing that smashes things. Geez, we are so bad at this. The smasher, and then obviously the little strainer, you'll need one of those. But I mean, essentially that's kind of it. And then I guess the part I more so care about, obviously simple syrup, brown sugar cubes for sure. And then
you also need garnish.
You
need like occasionally like your rosemary, dill, those kinds of things, just to get some flavors into the drink or pull some other flavors out. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of bitters do you like or enjoy? Because bitters is a wild concept in its own. Like you can send it with way different kinds of bitters.
Right. Well, I think I've had lemon bitters. I've had chocolate bitters. I've had orange bitters, obviously. I don't know. It really depends drink to drink. I think I liked the lemon bitters that I had one time because I kind of was way more into like a more refreshing, lighter bodied mixed drink. And I think that it just made it really like that sent it like fully in that direction. So I'm going to say lemon bitters.
Okay. Yeah. The three I keep I like to keep the spicy chocolate bitters. So like the Aztec chocolate bitters, I think they like I don't know what the brand is, but Aztec chocolate bitters, I think those are phenomenal because they're like kind of spicy chocolate. And I think that's great. And then, I like the Angostura just aromatic bitters as well as their orange bitters because I think those two bitters combined make a fantastic cocktail.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, I guess this is kind of a wrap of our initial live stream. I don't really know what else to talk about with bar carding or starting off a collection.
Yeah, well, next week we'll get into a bottle and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about whiskey rather than something like that. But I guess thank you for everyone who joined and thank you for everyone who's still here.
Thank you for anyone who rewatches this and sees this.
Right, I didn't expect anyone to watch this, honestly.
Right?
So, so thank you.
All right.
But I guess we'll be coming at you with more to come.
Yeah, more to come in the future. I'll see you guys later. See you later, Alec. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.